Hello everyone, welcome back to the class of C programming, and this time we will continue to work on the implementation of loop in C language. Specifically, it is the while statement. So this is a very simple example of the while statement. Okay, as I'm saying, if you really are new to the C language somewhat, you can relate to this while statement with the if. But anyway, if it is a one-time thing, while it will repeat as long as the condition is true. So syntax-wise, this is the syntax I'm talking about. While the condition do include a condition, or if we have multiple conditions with a pair of parentheses. And if you have multiple conditions, you are going to connect those conditions with logical operators. So eventually it just turns out to be a single condition. It's one condition, okay. And then the statement part could be a compound statement. Usually, indeed, it is a compound statement. So here is another example. We'll print out multiple stars, multiple asterisks, okay, according to the given number n, okay. So this is a while statement, And, well, a very important issue is, well, when you have loops, and basically the computer does a lot of things for you repeatedly. And one critical issue is you really want to know how many loops are needed. Sometimes the computer can figure that out by itself. But anyway, many times you are going to decide how many loops are needed. So counting loops, and usually you have a count. A counter control the loop. And indeed, I think you really can consider like the first example, even though I don't necessarily specifically count the actual loops. But anyway, in the end, if we look at the situation, we can count from the result for loops. And also the second loop, it is a better situation. Indeed, the count star, it is considered as an actual counter, okay, starting from 0. Does it make sense to you? Because in the beginning, it hasn't done anything, and it hasn't done anything yet, so it's 0. Whenever one round is done, it is adding by 1. One round is done, it is adding by 1, okay? And then keep on repeating. So in the end, if we print out this counter star, it will show the total number of repetitions, repeating the loop numbers, okay? You can use a count control the loop, control the loop. And also, many times you may want to use a condition, and more likely I have to go flip back to my first example. It is a condition. It's a condition, not a necessary, but it is a counter type of condition. The counter itself, it is a condition. Okay. And also you can, well, usually you need to have a variable, okay, to change it, to update the condition. So that variable is the control variable. And also, I think in the first part of video I mentioned very briefly, and do write the while statement carefully, and without updating the condition, it is very possible. It's very easy to get an infinite loop. And also, I really want to say, when you use a counter control the loop, you really want to be very careful. And very common, believe it or not, even though it may look very simple for a while statement. And you may, many times, people may, even for experienced programmers, and many times it's just easy to overcount or undercount, overcount by 1 or undercount by 1. It happens a lot. So you really want to be very careful. So this time, it is a program, another program. Basically, we do have a counter, and it is the number of employees. And then we want to take in the import as hours and the rate, and then calculate the salary, and the pay would be hours times salary. And then you want to print out, well, for each employee, how much you want to pay, and so pay. And by the way, it's worth to mention, we know the percentage F, it is a placeholder for the double type, for the double type. And in the past, we only use the percentage F. And also, I just want to explain very quickly, this time we have percentage 6.2F, which means that we are going to print out the number with a total length of 6 digits and then 2 decimal places. And think carefully, this may not be a huge number, okay? Because we do count a decimal point as a place. So indeed, it will only print out, it will only work well up to 999, up to 1000. Let's put it this way. Up to this way, okay. Up to 999, up to 1000, up to 1000. Okay. You count the number of employees, and then if it is not strictly less than 7, and then you do the calculation. If it is more than 7, it will quit, because it will only count the number of employees, 7 employees. Do the calculation for 7 employees. And also this diagram, it is very helpful. It may help you to visualize how the loop is performed, how the loop it is implemented. First, we check the condition. If the condition is true, we get to the loop body. And then when the body is done, the computer knows it will move back to the beginning where the condition is. And then it checks condition. If the condition is true, gets into the body and then moves back again. And unless at the time the condition is no longer met, and then it will exit the loop. Exit the loop. Okay. And I have one more example about the while statement and about a loop. And indeed, there are some applications to use a loop. Okay. And two particular applications I want to mention here is we can use a loop to calculate an accumulated sum. And also we can calculate an accumulated product. Okay, so when we calculate an accumulated sum, usually you need to use an accumulate, and which is used to store the sum. So to be specific, I do have a small program. I hope if you got a chance, you may want to give a try, copy and paste into a compiler, and then to see if it will compile and run. Basically, this program, what I'm having here is I'm going to ask the user to enter 5 different numbers. Enter 5 different numbers. And then in the end, when 5 numbers are done, and then calculate the sum. So as always, we always have included the header file for standard import and output. And also, well, I want to add some flexibility of this program. Maybe I changed my mind. Later, I want to ask the user to type in 10 numbers or maybe 100 numbers. So I use a constant macro here. Okay, define n as number 5. And this is a very simple thing. So I'm just using the main function. Main function usually, let's say we always the integer type for the main function. Okay. And then clearly, in terms of variable, we do need to let the user enter number. So I just say int num. It is a number. And also, don't forget, you need to design. You need to declare an accumulate. Accumulate, I'm simply calling this as sum. And also, well, you see the difference how I declare those two variables. Num, it is without initial value. Sum, it has the initial value. It starts from 0. It starts from 0, okay. And then I have a loop because I am moving in. I am asking the user to enter 5 numbers. So when actually I forgot one more thing here. I needed to have a counter. Otherwise, it would be infinite loop. Int I equals 0. Count I from 0. And when I equals 0, it is less than 5, so it is true. And it will print out the number. It will print out the number. And it is print out I plus 1, I plus 1. Okay. And then it's asking the user to enter number. And then the user type in the number. Let's say it's actually getting the number correctly. And then the next line, it is very important. It is an assignment. It is an assignment, which means the actual number added to the sum. Okay, then the entire value, it is updated to the accumulated sum here. Remember, when we declare a variable, it is really a piece of memory. A variable, it is a piece of memory. We could keep any content in that memory, and we could update the content of the memory. So this equal notation, it is the assignment. Okay, it is assignment. Looks like I'm only adding two numbers. The thing is, it will have to repeat. Initially, when you look at the repetition, okay, the loop, at I equals 0, basically the sum initially in the very first round, the sum is 0. So it is just assigning this num to the sum. When I equals 1, basically it is the sum, it already has the first value there. And then it's adding the second value. And then I equals 2, I equals 3. And you really want to give a try to see if you can figure out this sum changes. And for now, I'm just saying the sum, indeed, it is the sum, it is accumulated sum of the 5 numbers entered by the user. And also, I think I need to make another thing here. I did a print out I plus 1. It might be better because putting it this way, let us just change the program a little different or easier to follow. So when I equals 0, basically we are going to enter the first number. So I'm just going to say, let's say increase this I by 1. Okay. And the number you're going to enter, it is the first one, enter number 1. And then also, when number is 1, I equals 1, indeed we are going to enter the second number, so enter number 2. And then number 3, number 4. When I equals 4, we are going to enter number 5. I hope I'm correct. As I'm saying, if you are watching this video or if you are reading the notes, I want you to copy and paste this program to code blocks. Give a try to see if it will compile and if it will run, and if it will run as expected. Okay, so this is a loop statement, and it is used to calculate the sum. And then in the end, I just want to make sure I'm getting the sum correctly. So after the loop statement, okay, I'm printing out what the sum is. And so this is basically, one reason why we needed to consider repetition or loop statements in the C language. And again, it is for the while statement. And indeed, there are different ways to implement or to write a loop in C language. While certainly it is one, and also we have the for statement. And also we will have the do while statement. The for statement, it is also used to implement a loop. So before we continue, still let's take a break. Thank you for watching.